To truly understand the state Moon Knight ult is in right now, I will showcase what each version of his ult was like in Season 0, Season 1, Season 1.5. I will even show what his ult was like before the game even came out. I assume most players have heard of the Moon Knight double damage bug, where his talons would deal 150 damage instead of the normal 75. However, this is incorrect. His ult was never actually bugged to deal more damage. The bug that was affecting his ult was making it weaker than intended. Let's start with Season 0. Moon Knight's ult hitbox looked like this. The claws had a 4-meter radius and came down inside the circle in this pattern. No issues here. Season 1 comes out and applies the following buffs to his ultimate. The Hand of Khonshu will receive a slight increase to the threat of his ultimate ability. Increase the number of talons generated by Hand of Khonshu from 10 to 14. Increase the explosion radius of each talon from 4 to 5 meters. During Season 1, a Reddit post by user Sideways GTS showed that Moon Knight ult was bugged and deals double damage. But what was exactly causing it? With a bit of testing in the practice range, I found that the ult had a hitbox in the center of it. This hitbox activated each time a claw hit the ground and it did 75 damage. This is where the double damage came from. But was this a new undocumented feature? Or did it work this way in Season 0 as well? Well, turns out, it did work this way in Season 0 as well. In this clip from my previous video, you can see the Thor takes damage in increments of 331 to 181, which is 150, and then 181 to 106, which is another 75, and finally 106 to 31, which is 75 again. This shows that the ult was also bugged in Season 0 as well. So where does this center hitbox come from? It's smaller than the visible circle on the ground, and it's just seemingly randomly there. Well, turns out it's actually from an older version of his ultimate. You can see this old version in-game right now on Moon Knight's ability page. The ult shown is much smaller than it was ever when the game went live. And the claws seem to just not be properly placed onto the ult. The rough hitbox for this ult should look something like this, but something strange is also happening in this clip as well. The Punishers here are taking damage in increments of 75 or 150, which is the same thing as what the bug was. This red center hitbox would better be described as a consistency hitbox. It was intended that if you're in the circle on the ground, you take 75 damage. And if you're in a claw explosion, that also does 75 damage, which is where the 75 or 150 damage comes from. With this information in mind, we can see what changes were made to his ult before the game even went live. Fixed placement of claws, increased circle indicator on the ground. They made these changes before any of us got to actually play the game, so there were no patch notes about it. Knowing this information, let's redraw the hitboxes for each season of Moon Knight ult. The real problem is that when they increased the visual size of the ult, they didn't adjust that red center hitbox. This leads to the weird areas where you can take 0, 75, or 150 damage, all while being inside Moon Knight ult. After finding all this information out, I bundled that information up into a Reddit post and also sent it to the Marvel Rivals support team to show them where the issues with the ult were coming from. The dev team has made community-based suggestions before, even if they don't directly speak on the subreddit. The dev team ended up making changes and even referred to the consistency hitbox as the center spell field. And now, let's draw the current iteration of the ult with the changes that were also applied to his ult for Season 1.5. Reduced the Hand of Khonshu talon falling speed, corrected the damage trigger logic for Hand of Khonshu. The previous mechanism that dealt 75 damage when positioned at the center of the spell field has been removed. Increased the damage of each hit from 75 to 150. Also, they increased the circle indicator on the ground. Here you can see the changes for the current season in action. Luna takes more damage at the edge, which is 150 instead of 75, and the ult takes about 0.1 seconds longer to come down. So now, the ult works properly and that's it, right? Done deal. Well, no. The ult is drastically weaker now than it was before. When I had sent that information to the Marvel Rivals team, I did not expect them to straight up remove the hitbox in the center. That hitbox was intended to be there, and there is a clear reason why. Because the ult works by placing 3 circle hitboxes inside of a larger circle, you end up with very large areas where no damage will ever occur, even though you are inside of the ult indicator. In theory, you could figure out where the claws come down and make sure to escape into a blind spot to mitigate incoming damage. The problem with this though is that the places the claws come down are dependent on the angle Moon Knight drops his ult at, and there are no indicators as to where the claws will hit, other than the circle on the ground, which currently doesn't even represent the damage zones. This leads to his ult being more inconsistent than it was before Season 1.5. Because that consistent red circle got removed, you are more likely to take less damage even though they doubled the damage of his ult. The area of his ult that does not take damage when a claw hits the ground is now more than it was in previous seasons. This means that the highs of his ult are exactly the same as before, and the lows are even lower. When I had sent the information to the Marvel Rivals team, I did not expect them to straight up remove that hitbox in the center. This makes the ult weaker on average than before, and made one of my favorite characters pretty bad, and he wasn't even good before, so I really messed up on that one, guys. Sorry for that. Looking at the hitboxes again, let me show you each area the ult iterations would be hitting. The green will be active damage zones when each claw would hit the ground. As you can see, the previous version of the ult, while each zone did less damage individually, had more areas being hit at a time, which leads to more consistent damage output, instead of the current form of the ult, which has a bigger area that does not take damage on each individual claw. If we do some math, we can see the total damage each area of the ult will be taking. In previous season, each time a claw explodes for 75 damage, that red circle also deals 75 damage. The reason the damage value under the claws can be different is because the ult calls down 14 claws, 10 in Season 0. 14 divided by 3 doesn't come out to a clean number, so some spots get more claws than others. Currently, it's a pattern of 5, 5, and 4, and in Season 0, it was 4, 3, and 3. Note that you can stand in areas where you can get hit by 1, 2, or 3 claws during his ult. If we look at Season 1.5, we can see that with the removal of that red circle, we lose out on a decent chunk of damage from areas near the center. We also lose out on some damage in the areas between the circles, where you might have only been hit by the red circle and not a claw, assuming you were actively trying to run out of the ult. To prove how bad this ult is to use and play against, look at these 4 clips. Which of these Luna Snows will be taking damage here? Did you get all 4 of them right? The fact is, there's no quick and easy way to tell where the claws will come down. You can get lucky or unlucky due to no fault of your own. Moon Knight ult desperately needs help. My suggestion is to make it so the claws no longer deal damage, but the entire ult area takes damage each time a claw lands. This way, there's no confusion about when damage is happening, where damage is happening, and how much damage is happening. This would make it more consistent for both sides. Compare Moon Knight ult to Storm or Namor ult. Currently, if Storm or Namor ults you, there's no question about what damage you will take, or if you're going to even take damage at all. Moon Knight ult is the only one in the game that has this weird mismatch between the indicator on the ground and the actual damaging zones. Hopefully you have a better understanding of exactly what happened to Moon Knight ult. The character is currently in a pretty bad state. His win rate is consistently low across all ranks and across all seasons. He needs help badly, and hopefully the Marvel Rivals team gives him that much needed help. He's one of my favorite characters to play, and it kind of sucks knowing that I most likely played a pretty big hand in making his most redeeming quality, which was a ult that kind of obliterated you off the face of the planet sometimes, much worse. So, you know, let's hope we can do it again, but in this time in reverse. Give my man's a buff, please. Do it for him. Do it for him. Remember, it's for him. Do it for him. Khonshu told me to do this. Give my man's a buff. He needs a buff, please.